A better way to pay your UTG fees with instant proof of payment and real-time student portal update. Paying your University of the Gambia fees has never been easier or more convenient. With Ecobank, students, parents and guardians can pay UTG tuition and related fees through our secure digital banking channels such as Ecobank mobile app, Ecobank Online and Ecobank Omni Lite. Once payment is completed, instant proof of payment is generated and the UTG student portal is updated in real time, allowing students to proceed immediately with registration, course selection and clearance without unnecessary delays, while giving parents and guardians peace of mind that payments have been successfully processed. How to pay via the Ecobank mobile app. Open the Ecobank mobile app and navigate to the home screen. Select Pay Bill, choose Pay a New Bill and select Schools from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. How to pay via Ecobank Online or Omni Lite. Log in to Ecobank Online and Omni Lite using your credentials. Select the menu and choose Bill Payments. Choose Quick Bill Pay and select School from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Walk into any Ecobank branch or pay through our digital channels and enjoy instant proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Santa yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokk dara.
Jar Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jar Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jar Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jar Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jar Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jar Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jar Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
Africa is rising and business knows no borders. With Bloombank and PAPS, buying and selling across Africa is now effortless. Fast, secure, direct from your Bloombank account. One Africa, one connection, one heartbeat of opportunity, powered by Bloombank Africa. Bloombank Africa, in partnership with PAPS, connecting Africa, empowering you. Bloombank Africa, we make it happen.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on Wednesday, the 6th of May, 2026. Today's edition carries special support from the World Bank in the Gambia as we put climate change action firmly at the center of national conversation this morning. You see, in the past 24 hours, a landmark country climate and development report was launched, warning that without urgent measures, the Gambia risks severe economic losses, rising poverty, and greater vulnerability to extreme weather. The report was launched by Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow in a ceremony that brought together government officials and development partners to chart a path toward climate-resilient growth. Now, the significance of this study is reflected in the size and stature of the panel we have assembled this morning, one of the largest roundtables in Coffee Time's history. Very shortly, I'll introduce members of the panel. But first, let's turn to our reporter, Boubacar Sow, for his description of yesterday's launch at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center.
At the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center in Bijilo, government officials, development partners, and key stakeholders have gathered to officially launch the Gambia's country's climate and development report. Jointly hosted by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, the report, backed by the World Bank Group, lays a clear picture of how climate change is already impacting the country's economy and what must be done to respond. It identifies urgent priorities across agriculture, infrastructure and environmental protection, sectors already under pressure from unpredictable weather patterns. Delivering his remarks, World Bank resident representative Franklin Mutaha Kana described the moment as both timely and critical, stressing that addressing climate risks is not optional but central to protecting development gains and unlocking future growth.
This event is therefore timely and critical. It provides a platform to move from diagnosis to action, from identifying risks to mobilizing the investments and partnerships needed to address them at scale. Attention to environmental risks and natural disasters is not a parallel agenda. It is central to sustainable development. For the Gambia, this attention is very crucial for the development pathway. It's about protecting the development gains, reducing vulnerability, and unlocking future growth.
Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources Minister Rohim John Manjang warned that delaying action could lead to severe losses, urging timely and proactive measures guided by the CCD report to avoid a future crisis.
Looking at the way the climate impact is aggravating, if you do not do anything, no action is taken here to 2030, we will lose, or even closer to that, we will lose the entire Banjul. That's scary, but it's saying if no action is taken. So we have the leverage and then timely action, not no action. We cannot wait here to 25th and then now start rushing. It cannot be a firefighting moment. We have to raise with actions and then we have to be timely with that. And that information is here ready under the CCRD.
For many Gambians, the risks are already a daily reality. Farmers are grappling with shorter rainy seasons, while coastal communities face erosion and rising sea levels. Finance Minister Sidi Keita emphasized that climate change is not just an environmental concern, but a serious economic threat, warning that it could reduce the Gambia's GDP by up to 9% if left unaddressed.
Climate change is not only an environmental challenge, it is a macroeconomic and fiscal risk for the Gambia. The findings of the country climate and development report makes this very clear. Climate change affects our economy through multiple channels, reducing agricultural productivity, lowering labor productivity due to heat stress, damaging infrastructure, and disrupting key sectors such as tourism. If left unaddressed, these impacts could reduce our GDP by 9% by 2040 on the high-impact climate scenario, and by about 5% even under a more optimistic scenario.
Officials say the report will serve as a roadmap guiding policy, attracting investment, and shaping national development strategies in years ahead. But beyond the discussions, the real test lies in implementation, turning recommendation into action that directly improve lives. Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow warned that without urgent action, climate change could shrink the country's economy by nearly 10% by 2050 and push thousands into poverty.
The Gambia Conflict Climate and Development Report provides a sobering but necessary analysis. It shows that without decisive action, climate change could reduce our GDP by up to 9.3% by 2050, increasing public debt pressures, slow economic growth, and push tens of thousands of Gambians into poverty.
As climate pressures intensify, the question is no longer whether the Gambia should act, but how fast it can respond. Reporting for West Coast Radio, I am Boubacar Sow.
Thank you, Boubacar, for that vivid account of the launch ceremony. And now Coffee Time brings you the voices behind the study itself. We're joined by a high-profile World Bank group team whose expertise spans environment, economics, and development practice. Franklin Mutahakana is the World Bank Group resident representative in the Gambia. Elisa Baroli is practice manager for environment. Zinab Ben Kiran is senior economist at the International Finance Corporation. And Matar Toure is an energy specialist working with the World Bank team in the Gambia. Together, these four ladies and gentlemen form one of the most distinguished panels ever assembled on Coffee Time. And they are ready to unpack the findings and chart the path toward climate-resilient growth.
Peter, and a very good morning to our listeners. The report itself is really essentially about economic growth. It's about jobs creation and opportunities. Now, whether you're a farmer, you're a student, you're a market trader, or you're a young graduate, we know that the environmental challenges that we're facing as a country are already with us, and we have to see how we live with them to minimize the impact they have on our livelihoods. So the report maps out how targeted investments can protect these livelihoods and create new ones, and calls on the government, the private sector, and different partners to act together. Ultimately, the Country Climate Development Report shows that with the right investments, especially in agriculture, energy, and infrastructure, we can protect these livelihoods and can create new opportunities. So this is not just a climate report, it is a roadmap for more resilient and inclusive economy.
Let's stay with you. Is the situation dire? Should Gambians be worried?
So, first of all, let me allay fears. Yes, the risks are real and should not be underestimated. However, the message is about opportunity. It's about how can we act now to be able to minimize the consequences that would come. So if we do not act, then we face a challenge. But if we act now, we have an opportunity to be able to improve and reduce some of these risks. And acting means having smart investments that can dramatically reduce the future losses and unlock growth and benefits for everybody.
Okay, fantastic. Let's talk money now, and that takes me to Zinab. Zinab, who will pay for the $13 billion, not dollars, required?
Indeed, and let me just clarify that the $13 billion is not for tomorrow. It's over a 30-year period until 2050. And indeed, the report really makes the case for the private sector. The Country Climate and Development Report does estimate that 35% of the financing needed will need to come from the private sector. Right now, that amount is minimal. So the report charts the pathways for various opportunities in various sectors of the economy, agro-processing, tourism, energy, solid waste management, that present actually opportunities for climate-smart investments. And this report was also informed by another report that came out yesterday, the Green Investment Climate Diagnostic, that informed the CCDR, that really looks at the economy as a whole from an opportunistic perspective and looks at the pathways to be able to chart out the long-term investment needed. So this investment will be needed through various innovative financing instruments that the report recommends: blended financing, concessional financing through development partners, other private sector sponsors, other innovative financial instruments such as green bonds, sustainable linked bonds. And we're happy to report that the World Bank Group has been working on improving the financial infrastructure for the Gambia to be able to eventually reach these goals. Thank you very much.
All right. Matar, let me bring you in here, and you might want to maybe add a few things on the opening question that I asked Franklin about, what this report means for Gambians.
Yes, indeed.
Being the only Gambian, among the group yourself, you should be able to know.
In the room. Absolutely. No, thank you very much, Uncle Peter. And once again, congratulations for such a lovely studio.
Thank you.
I think the last time I was here was when we were across the street.
We're not done yet. We'll come running to the World Bank for additional support.
The right man is here in Franklin. But yes, absolutely, you're right. Picking up from where Zainab left off, the CCDR really, in detail looks at, a number of key economic sort of infrastructure across the country. You first have the issues regarding agriculture, where about 70% of employment is in the agricultural sector, and it is significantly exposed to the environmental impacts related to climate change. One of the key findings of the report is really just in terms of looking into practices of climate-smart agriculture. These are high-yielding, drought-resistant seeds. This can increase agricultural productivity by about 40%. Second, and this came out in the report by Abubakar as well, is really the issue of safeguarding Banjul. I know people like you have a very strong affinity to Banjul.
We were born there.
We call you boy Banjuls. Our generation are slightly removed from that, but critically, just looking at safeguarding Banjul, where the impacts of sea level rises, potentially, at the turn of the century, could have significant and material impacts on Banjul. So one is, how do you create, an adaptive environment? But secondly, looking at managed relocations as also away from Banjul. In essence, this has already partially started. A lot of the residential households in Banjul are sort of shifting away, and it's turning into a more commercial hub. But it's really critical that is also, understood. And thirdly, of course, on the issue of just expanding energy and making sure it's more reliable, more affordable, to support firm growth and firm productivity. And fourth, like Zainab said, it's critical to ensure that the mismatch between access to finance for the private sector and actual private sector growth is sort of married in such a way that firms are able to also benefit from really access to reliable, cheap, and stable capital to expand and grow their businesses and create jobs.
Let's bring in Elisa at this point. What are the most urgent priorities this report identifies? Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's nice to be here, and it's a real
nice
pleasure.
To have you here.
Well, thank you very much. The report, I think my colleagues have probably identified quite a few pieces, but the report really identifies how important it is to take action and to take it sooner than later and really plan for what's coming down the line. And the report sort of highlights the 4 priority areas for action, really. Agriculture is so important to the Gambia. So many people work in that field, and the Gambians that depend on it will be at risk from the impacts of heat, stress, etc. So, there are tools to help with these matters. So I think that's an area where we very much hope that action can be taken. Secondly, as my colleague mentioned, Banjul is a concern, right? Whereas, safeguarding the capital as an economic engine is very critical. And that's an area where we've done some work to show what the impacts will be. Energy, as my colleague mentioned, is critical. Access to energy spurs growth. People need electricity for their work, for their businesses, for schools, education, etc. So it really helps.
Even for this radio conversation.
Even for this radio conversation. And then, of course, finance. The report talks a lot about finance and how access to this would enable this spurt of growth that's needed to really offset the impacts that are coming from the climate impacts.
Okay. In terms of support, Franklin, how is the World Bank Group supporting the Gambia to address some of these issues?
Thank you very much. Like my colleague, I'll quote my colleague Zineb mentioned earlier.
Everybody's quoting Zineb.
Yes. The CCDR report is not produced in isolation. So it's been informed by various other analytical pieces. And in addition to that, we already have within the portfolio activities that are aimed at addressing some of the challenges that have been outlined in the report. For example, in the agriculture sector, we have the Resilient Agricultural Value Chains Development Project, better known as the GIRAV, which was approved by the World Bank in 2024. Now, the goal under this particular project is to address food insecurity by scaling up climate-smart agriculture, improving water availability, and supporting improved irrigation for farmers. So specifically, it's looking at improved productivity in the agriculture sector, but also to enhance the whole agricultural value chain and improve on that. Now, in addition to that, we also have the Tourism Diversification and Resilience Project that is working to strengthen the infrastructure and policy environment on tourism, improve access to funds, for small tourism businesses, but also enhance resilience of the coastal tourism infrastructure. And recently, in 2025, the World Bank board also approved a project it's called the Gambia Infrastructure Project. It's about $52.6 million, which will look at road and energy infrastructure. And in terms of the roads, the focus is initially on construction of 60 kilometers of roads to connect 80 rural communities, and also to advance the electricity grid network. These are all centered on being smart investments that will address some of the challenges that have been outlined in the CCDR. So really, in a nutshell, the activities are already ongoing in terms of what needs to be done. The report just amplifies what more should be done.
Okay. And Elisa, what is being done about the coastline and Banjul specifically?
So for the coastline and Banjul specifically, we do have a program that's called the West Africa Coastal Area Resilience Investment Project.
Is that the WACA project?
Exactly. It's the WACA project. And it's a project that covers a number of countries in West Africa. Gambia, Ghana, and Guinea-Bissau are in this investment package, which benefits from $246 million that supports protection of the coast. Protected in two ways, either through physical infrastructure, which we call grey infrastructure, but also where we're trying to use nature as an asset that can really also help. So protecting mangroves, making sure the floodplains stay there, but whatever can help to buffer the impacts of sea level rise. And doing these things helps protect the coast, but it protects economic and livelihood assets because you're protecting from the erosion and flooding. So this is one of the key priorities, and it directly addresses one of the priorities in the report for the CCDR to keep Banjul and the coastal economy functional and safe.
Okay. You've been quiet for a while now, Zineb, even though everybody has been quoting you. Does the CCDR mean that the Gambia must choose between development and climate action?
Absolutely not, because one of the most important messages in that is that they're not competing priorities, but they're rather complementary. So investing in climate resilience is actually investing in the economy. And what we see through the report is that without action, environmental hazards could cost the economy 9.3% by 2050. and an aspirational growth path could reduce these losses by 2.6%. So investing in climate resilience is actually investing in the economy, and the report shows, as I said earlier, that investing in critical sectors and really trying to the extent possible mobilize the private sector in order to help reduce the fiscal burden for the government would help in reaching these goals and in investing in the Gambian economy.
And do you sense any interest in the private sector in the Gambia in going into?
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is something we actually talked a lot to the private sector before this report came out. And what they're looking for is an enabling environment for private investment, and this is exactly what the report charts out. We looked at the 3 critical sectors of the economy where the opportunities exist for the private sector. However, there are some business environment constraints that they face, such as, for example, the creation of a dedicated public-private partnership framework for solid waste management and other sectors. So they're really looking for the enabling environment to be there, to be able to invest, and the government is very cognizant of this. During the launch yesterday, they already were very receptive of the recommendations that can be found in the report in terms of what are the exact actions that the government can take in the short, medium, and long term in order for the private sector to be more comfortable to invest.
Very encouraging. Well, let's talk about 2 demographics that you hear talked about in whatever sort of conversation, women and young people. And since Matar is amongst us, very young person, does the report address, the economic futures of young people like yourself and women?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and Peter, really, this is one of the topical issues the report aimed to address. One on really, addressing the gender divide and making sure that there's gender empowerment across, but also critically in terms of job creation, because as we always say, jobs eventually lead to dignity, and these are some of the things that we're trying to address across the board, and this cuts across the entire World Bank portfolio in the Gambia. In essence, particularly on the need to access finance for small businesses. As you know, most of the youth and women, Gambia has morphed into a very entrepreneurial society. Every morning you wake up on Facebook, there's some level of activity happening, but really how do you further unlock some of these opportunities? But critically as well, looking at some of the sectors that the CCDR has really assessed in depth, the tourism sector especially. There's a significant opportunity for job creation across the board. Right now it's seasonal, but there's also, a significant exposure of tourism assets to environmental impacts. So how best do you sort of create the balance in between the two? But there's also the issue, of course, on land tenure. How do you make sure that women are adequately protected in terms of land tenure? This goes back to some of the issues that we discussed earlier. For example, under the WACA project, it's not just the infrastructure as well. We're looking, we supported the development of the first land policy, which is also looking at how best do you ensure that women who are disproportionately affected, you look at some of the farmlands, it's mainly women gardeners, but they don't actually have ownership. And what happens with land is it actually unlocks capital opportunities for some of these women. So in essence, across the board and across all sectors, we're trying to address some of these issues.
And is there a balance to be struck in empowering young people and women, so that their actions do not only aggravate the climate situation?
Yes, really, across the board, it's really understanding what the nuances are. You go back into the agricultural sector, both women and youth participate, but how best do you ensure that they're participating meaningfully within responsibly? I think
which is another word that is important in World Bank parlance.
Absolutely. So yes, indeed, it's quite critical that they understand what is required of them, but also understanding fully how best do you unlock these potentials. Not just making sure because the risk you run is sort of scaring them away, but I mean, bringing them back on board.
I know you spoke about them, but since you're not a woman, between Elisa and Zineb, would you like to say a word or two about women?
For me, investing in women is investing in economic growth, and women's economic empowerment for me is the key driver for economic growth, and especially for the case in the Gambia, where the key sectors of the economy, agriculture, tourism, they do employ women. So investing in this is investing in the future for the Gambia.
Fantastic. Yeah, sure.
Add something, Peter, because I work across a number of countries in West Africa, and to be honest, I feel women are totally underrepresented in our economies, and it's a shame. And I feel lonely sometimes. So I really would love to see more women interacting and participating for the exact same reasons that Zainab mentioned. They're important to the economy. They can contribute to a country's growth. We need to see them more visibly.
Yes, Franklin. Peter, I know you're not a woman, but I'll give you the floor.
But I'm one of the biggest proponents for women's empowerment. And just to add on that, the CCDR is actually very clear in terms of stating that a climate resilient economy must be an inclusive one. So that is definitely one of the key pillars that the CCDR has.
And what about people like me, persons with disability? We haven't spoken about them. That's another demographic that is becoming increasingly important. Do they have a place in this report and all the aid that is coming up, to make us, climate resilient?
As I indicated, that it is an inclusive report.
No, we need to hear it from you.
It needs to come straight. So one of the principles of the World Bank Group's support is to make sure that nobody is left behind. Whatever development initiatives are undertaken, they are inclusive, and persons with disabilities is one of the key areas that the bank's support in general focuses on. So, Peter,
yes,
you are definitely not left out, but this is also a message for everybody that all the support that the World Bank Group provides in the Gambia is inclusive and leaves nobody behind.
Fantastic.
I think maybe just to add on to
something,
as part of the critical annexes as well in the report, there's also a human capital dimension of it, which is really looking at both health outcomes, education outcomes, and across. It's not just youth and women, but also even, the elderly as well. And how best,
important
exactly, for the leverage, the human capital potentials of everyone in the Gambia.
Indeed, an all-inclusive report, as Franklin said. And why release this report now, if I may start with you, Elisa?
Sure. I think it's really important because the longer the government has time to take action and the longer there's an awareness across private sector and others, then we need the time. It's going to take investments to adapt. It will take policy changes to adapt. So if we have that time, the sooner the better, frankly. And the window for action is open, and it's not going to stay open long. We feel the effects of climate impacts, right? The Gambia is already experiencing the effects of flooding, heat stress, coastal erosion. So these are important aspects, and I think the more time that's taken, the more important it is. But it's not saying take time just to be slow. It's take time to consider very good planning and thoughtful thinking so that you can take the right decisions.
I'll let Franklin have the last word, but just, some closing thoughts, Zineb?
No, just in terms of the timeliness of the report, we really feel that the private sector is hungry, that they want to come, that they want to invest. They're looking at key critical sectors of the economy. The report really provides an opportunistic view for investment. And throughout our interactions with all of the different stakeholders, and especially the private sector, they're already starting, but what they're looking for is a little push in order to be able to have more of a more comfortable environment in which to work. So we're really excited to turn this report from diagnostic into action to help support not only the government but the private sector, civil society, academia, who we're meeting with later today, to really help push the agenda and support the enabling environment for private investment in the Gambia.
Fantastic. Matar?
Maybe I'll just go back home for a bit. One of the key findings as well, particularly in the energy sector, I mean, going back is the vulnerability can actually be an opportunity for the Gambia. So when you're looking at it, going back to the private sector opportunities Zainab was mentioning, I mean, you look at the deployment of renewables across the board. It actually has the potential to reduce energy costs by about 50%. You look at the issues of energy access. Gambia really stands now across the sub-region as a reference point. I mean, right now we're talking about forecasting 90% access in the Gambia. So, I mean, essentially, really, how best do you unlock these opportunities from both, I mean, a climate angle, but also on the other side as a developmental objective for the country. So, really, not to scare everyone, but also seeing what the positive side could be as well in terms of private priorities.
Last but not least, Franklin, you had the opening word, you'll have the closing word.
Thank you very much, Peter. And before I even do the closing remarks, let me just quickly get back to your question on why the report now.
Yes.
Really, the report should have been yesterday. Like we said, we're already living the challenges in the Gambia, and certainly the importance of some of the actions to have been undertaken much earlier are already with us. I'll just give a quick experience I had. Sure. I had a meeting with the Minister of Environment on Monday. And when I came out of her office, as I waited for the vehicle, the sun was really blazing hot. So when my driver came, Mr. Alaji Kamara, I joked with him. I said, "What quarrel have Gambians got with the sun?" Because it was like the sun was fighting me completely. So
and fighting every Gambian.
And fighting every Gambian, yeah. So that's why I'm saying that we should even have had this report yesterday. But going to the closing, really, just to go back briefly to the CCDR, it really it's an evidence-based foundation for action, ensuring that climate resilience becomes the driver of growth and long-term prosperity in the Gambia. And really, the climate action and growth are not competing priorities. They are mutually reinforcing activities. And whatever we are doing in terms of pushing forward the growth of the Gambian economy, we have to be mindful of what are the challenges relating to the environment and what is it that we need to do to ensure that these challenges do not pull us backwards, but instead help propel us going forward.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. And that was our distinguished World Bank Group panel. Franklin Mutahakana, Elisa Barodi, Zina Benkiran, and Aram Tal. Indeed, as I said at the start of the program, one of the largest roundtables in our history, unpacking the findings of the new Country Climate and Development Report and charting a vision for climate resilient growth in the Gambia.
A better way to pay your UTG fees with instant proof of payment and real-time student portal update. Paying your University of the Gambia fees has never been easier or more convenient. With Ecobank, students, parents and guardians can pay UTG tuition and related fees through our secure digital banking channels such as Ecobank mobile app, Ecobank Online and Ecobank Omni Lite. Once payment is completed, instant proof of payment is generated and the UTG student portal is updated in real time, allowing students to proceed immediately with registration, course selection, and clearance without unnecessary delays, while giving parents and guardians peace of mind that payments have been successfully processed. How to pay via the Ecobank mobile app. Open the Ecobank mobile app and navigate to the home screen. Select Pay Bill. Choose Pay a New Bill and select Schools from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. How to pay via Ecobank Online or Omni Lite. Log in to Ecobank Online and Omni Lite using your credentials. Select the menu and choose Bill Payments. Choose Quick Bill Pay and select School from the category options. Select University of the Gambia. Select the specific product you are paying for. Enter your matriculation number and tap Continue. Validate your details. The system will display the payable amount. Press Continue to confirm the payment. An e-receipt is generated automatically as proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Walk into any Ecobank branch or pay through our digital channels and enjoy instant proof of payment with real-time updates on the student portal. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Wave la fee. Sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jar Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jar Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jar Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jar Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jar Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jar Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
Africa is rising and business knows no borders. With Bloombank and PAPS, buying and selling across Africa is now effortless. Fast, secure, direct from your Bloombank account. One Africa, one connection, one heartbeat of opportunity, powered by Bloombank Africa. Bloombank Africa, in partnership with PAPS, connecting Africa, empowering you. Bloombank Africa, we make it happen.